This is the real headline. Scared of a potato. Steven Crowder's divorce now revolves around threatening messages inscribed on a yam. The yam's message included Crowder's own comments to his wife. Right-wing commentator Steven Crowder's divorce dominated internet discussion since last year, but it is a threatening message he says he received inscribed on a yam that is currently taking the cake. Crowder last year revealed that his wife Hillary Crowder filed a no-fault divorce, telling his audience, "My then-wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore in the state of Texas that is completely permitted." Soon after the announcement, a Ring video from 2021 circulated online of Crowder berating his wife, who was 8 months pregnant at the time. In the clip, Crowder tells her to fucking watch it and lambasts her for failing to do wifely things, in addition saying that he doesn't love her and forbidding her from using the car. The one car. Crowder has once again come to the limelight on social media after an ex-staffer said on Tuesday that he claimed he fostered a, quote, toxic and abusive work environment and was subjecting him for years of legal abuse after his departure from the company. Jared Mantello, known as Jared Monroe, said in a video posted on X that his former employer is exploiting the legal system to abuse others right now, and requested help with his legal fees to get out from the NDA. Monroe's request received the backing of Hillary Crowder, who called him a good man, a great father, and a loyal husband. Anyone who's been on the other side of this legal abuse knows how financially and emotionally devastating it can be, she added. Louder with Crowder addressed the allegations with Monroe on Wednesday. He claimed he had coordinated with Hillary Crowder to destabilize Steven Crowder through a negative PR campaign. The alleged coordination between the two is where the threatening yams come in. Hillary sent a private and enlisted residential address to Jared, Louder Crowder CEO said on X. Shortly after Jared received Steven's personal address, Steven received this threatening message. So we've connected a couple of the dots, or in this case, the potatoes, because yesterday it was very weird. Steven Crowder, basically, and I've been following the saga for 3 days now. I've been very thoroughly crowded in terms of all the stuff that I've had to cover. But if I could give you the TLDR and the very quick summary, Steven Crowder is accused by one of his ex-employees, who used to be his co-host, Jared, aka known as Not Gay Jared, of years and years of witnessing abuse, of degeneracy, of fucked up stuff, and he wanted to leave the company. When he wants to leave the company, he basically tells everybody that I want to leave, and they don't want him to go. And so they make him sign these NDAs. Now, the NDAs say that he's not going to be able to work in media for a period of up to 2 years, I believe, in any capacity, which is really hard when your last credit, like, hey, what was your previous job, would have been, well, I was working in media for a very large right-wing digital media channel. So he's not allowed to do that. He's got a kid on the way, and he's also not allowed to talk about any of the fucked up stuff that he witnessed. Some of the stuff was then confirmed by Steven Crowder's new co-host, Gerald, or Gerald, grimy. Either way, Steven Crowder, cold feet as he is, refuses to address any of this directly and instead gets his new co-host to yesterday do a 30-minute broadcast special where they launch the weirdest ass conspiracy theory about all of this. This conspiracy theory includes stuff like, by the way, Steven Crowder, in fact, was not the only one exposing his penis. In fact, Gerald was exposing his penis to Steven Crowder, and he was doing it at a specific angle in which only Steven Crowder could see it. And so, hey, at the end of the day, who is not to cast the first penis in this story, right? And it's like, this is still a case of employer-employee, right? Like, if you have an employee who's like hanging brain, flashing dick, you know, fucking putting the old bat on the wall, all that kind of stuff, well, then yeah, you can fire them. And I would assume you would have if it wasn't something that was tolerated in your work environment. But it's a little bit harder when your boss is accused by multiple ex-employees of just whipping his dick out all the fucking time. The guy, like, I want people to put themselves, like, I know this is Steven's trying to downplay it, a lot of other people have tried to downplay it, but the guy is like one of those dudes in a trench coat who runs around on the streets exposing himself, except he's doing it to the people whose livelihoods depend on his work and ability to pay them. It's incredibly fucked up on so many levels. So they make this whole grand conspiracy and they lay it all out that because Steven is currently going through a very difficult divorce, and in amongst that divorce proceeding going down, his ex-wife has been in contact with Jared, the very person now who's coming forward saying that Steven Crowder has been trying to silence me, that they're asking for the communications that I have with my own friends about the show, that, you know, I have to fight this. It's gotten worse and worse, and I witnessed so much terrible and terrifying abuse. Jared also revealed that it was so bad, it was such an abusive work environment that he had to go to a hospital. He says he has receipts on this, where he was checked in for heart problems as well as severe anxiety for the first time in his life as a result of the mistreatment that he was enduring under Steven Crowder, who again in acts had made him dress up in drag, make out with him in public in drag, touch his crotch over his pants in public in front of children in drag. Steven Crowder had apparently, according to other employees, taken out his balls and penis and placed it upon his employee's body, on his shoulder, in a car and kind of stuff, like, full on sexual assault at that point. So yeah, there's a long documented history of Steven Crowder being an absolute monster. Wasn't courageous enough to address this directly, got his co-host to address instead, and then boom, Steven Crowder's back today doing more show. I am going to check out a little bit of the stream, the start of it, just to make sure I'm curious if he acknowledges or addresses any of this, because Gerald also said when he was doing that at the very start of his thing, he's like, Steven can't be here today. This was planned. We'll explain later. And I waited the full 32 fucking minutes. I didn't skip over. We watched the whole thing. I was waiting for him to explain what that was. I was like, okay, go on. I'm curious. What you got? Oh, what secrets will be revealed? Twitter is awesome. It's this really cool website that's run by someone who's really competent and knows how to make websites run, and it's always running really good and doesn't just randomly glitch out all the time like this now or just be unusable. It's cool. It's cool. We stand this Twitter website. We do. Nice, it loaded. All right, I wanted to check out some updates because I think Jared has personally replied to a couple of people yet. So we have first Lawrence Southern. So Lawrence Southern and Tim Pool are feuding on the behalf of Steven Crowder. So Tim Pool first says, Crowder has to pay $25,000 in child support that his ex-wife uses to pay lawyers to go after him. He has to fund his own destruction. How fucked is U.S. divorce court? And again, people have been asking, how do you find Tim's moral compass? For me, it usually aligns sometimes with incel beliefs. Like, it'll be, what would incels say about the scenario? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, I get it. So this has been community noted. Steven Crowder is not paying Hillary Crowder $25,000 in child support. Their divorce case has not been finalized. This amount of money is being paid to Hillary by LWC as part of a separate lawsuit and only until the divorce is finalized, according to the quoted tweet. So Jared retweets Lauren saying, yes, he's launched extraordinarily litigious lawsuits against her and her family that she cannot afford because she quit her job to be a full-time home mom. She also went on to full custody for the kids, but thankfully she was awarded some funds to prevent herself from becoming homeless and having their children taken. It is understood how much she's spending on lawyers. You'd know she's spending every cent of that defending herself. Should stay-at-home wives be able to have their children taken from them and left homeless if their husbands were extremely wealthy? What you're seeing here, by the way, and it's just wonderful to watch it all play out because it's all these horrifying ghouls all fighting each other and yelling at each other, is that, yeah, a lot of this whole Republican right-wing to far-right conservative MAGA bullshit, it is based on upholding a lot of these old traditional values, if you will, including women should know their fucking place and be subservient to men. Surprise, this is what patriarchy is. Like, I hate to, like, fucking burst Lawrence Southern's bubble, but yes, the very people you hang out with and try to uphold all of these old patriarchal hierarchies, this is the shit that they think, and this is where their brains go, and that's why a lot of them are suddenly just like, fucking Steven Crowder being extorted by his wife, fucking divorce should be illegal, women shouldn't be allowed to, no-fault divorce is bad, she's just fleecing him for money, trying to get that fucking paycheck, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, if you're watching what's going on, you might just look over and be like, well, it kind of seems like Steven's in a very strong position of power here for a lot of reasons. One, he controls the family assets. Two, he's the one that earns millions and millions of dollars while she's been taking care of their children. And three, he has a media empire and apparatus that can destroy human beings, and he can use that and weaponize that whenever he wants. And oh, look at that. Steven Crowder has just announced and launched, and he was too cowardly to do this himself, by the way. He got Gerald to do this, but they've launched a conspiracy theory that they're now getting their mug club rabbit fucking violent ass fans to believe that this is all part of Hillary, who's now trying, Steven's ex-wife, who's now trying to get the media, plant stories to destroy Steven Crowder, and she's doing that in collusion with Jared. Now, why? Reasons. It's a little hard to understand, but they have some emails, and they've revealed those emails. So we've seen some emails that went from Hillary to Jared, and Jared to Hillary, in which Jared has said things like, I hope that Steven's not around his children. I don't think they'd be safe with them, kind of shit. Which, again, based on what I've seen, seems like a very normal thing to say, especially if you were in communication with someone else who was directly involved with Steven Crowder, as the wife has been. So I stand by this text to Hillary Crowder, and you would too if you knew what I do. Release my NDA. Apparently he's got a lot of dirt that he's willing to talk about. He's just really scared at this moment of whether or not it'll get him in more trouble. But I want him to release all of the receipts. I just don't want him anywhere near those kids. They really, that really disturbs me. Again, this is not evidence of a massive conspiracy, and this conspiracy goes all the way into the media, that they've been planting stories to the media specifically to destroy Steven Crowder's reputation. You know who's destroying Steven Crowder's reputation? Steven fucking Crowder. Again, the guy can't keep his dick in his pants. I think that's probably doing a lot more damage to the Louder with Crowder Mug Club empire than anything that you'll find in these very heavily redacted leaked text or tweets or emails that have been coming between the two of them. And release the context of those texts. You know, historically, when there's two parties telling stories, dramatically different, you know, polarizing stories, when one of the sides or one of the parties wants everything to be revealed, wants to be released from being able to talk about it, wants all the text messages to come out, wants everything to be released, usually it's the other side that's got something to hide and is really worried about that happening and is trying to put as many lids on this as possible, as we've already seen Steven Crowder does dramatically with his ex-employees, because this is not the first person who's had to go through all of this. The quartering, obviously, on Crowder's team sounded off. Jared Monroe willingly signed these documents and then willingly violated them multiple times.
Willingly. And then willingly violated them multiple times by inserting himself weirdly into the Steven Crowder divorce. That's what all this is about. Unless Jared Monroe releases some level of additional evidence here, I think ultimately, end of the day, Steven Crowder's going to be rich and stay rich. Steven Crowder's ex-wife is going to be rich. And Jared Monroe is going to be flapping in the wind because I have no idea why he inserted himself into this. Here's a message back sent in 2022. They understand right-wing media. They are familiar with who Steven is in that world and things that would destabilize him. They're trying to make him have a mental breakdown. But by employing a media/Brian Freeman and PR strategy that will significantly threaten this public persona and brand. By the way, Brian Friedman is the guy that defended the woman who knowingly lied about that MLB player and ruined his career. That's who that is. They're trying.
And again, all part of the conspiracy. You got to add a whole bunch of other elements to it, right? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? And again, there's nothing in these emails that indicate anything outside of what I'd already assume. Two people who are up against someone who's incredibly rich, incredibly powerful, and has a media empire of bigots who can go after you at any time would want to do on the other end of that. It's not like, whoa, bombshell revelations have happened. I can't believe this.
Trying to extort him. So no wonder he's pissed. You may have seen those public claims about Hillary's.
And honestly, Gerald is one of the saddest players in this entire saga because he is so deep in the sauce. He's a true believer, you know. He's ready to live and die by the Crowder sword, you know, the mug full of cum, whatever you want to call it. They are completely involved at this point into defending Steven Crowder no matter what happens. Like Steven Crowder can actually say, I want you to do a 30-minute segment defending me and all the fucked up shit that I've done. Yeah. It's not as bad as they think. You were there for some of it. You saw, right? Like I wasn't all bad, was I? There were the good times.
Hardships, seeking opportunities. I really need a job with remote flexibility. I need money.
Well, yeah, no shit. Someone who's escaping an abusive environment in which the husband was controlling down to the detail of their fucking cars. They had one fucking car, tens of millions of dollars, and you have one vehicle, and the wife is not allowed to use the vehicle to do the chores that you're demanding that she do for you on your behalf. It's like, I want you to go buy my steaks and cigars and then walk the dog and clean the house because that's how you become my wife and show you love me. And it's like, okay, can I take the car? No, you can't take the car. All right, well, I'm going to go grab an Uber then. You can't do that either. You're not allowed. You got to walk.
Well, it turns out that Steven Crowder is paying her $25,000 a month while they sort their divorce. 25 grand a month.
So at least the quartering didn't go as bad as Tim Pool here. He actually pointed out that this is in between them. There still hasn't been a ruling in the divorce itself.
That's $300K a year to do nothing. For some...
Do you know how much a lawyer would cost to be able to battle Steven Crowder in this? This whole thing is set up so that, yes, say there is a woman in an abusive relationship, and this is a spouse, by the way. It could be a man as well. I mean, if it really bugs you to think like some woman might be getting some undue justice here, you can flip the whole thing. So say there was a man and a woman, and the man decided that he wanted to spend time at home and take care of the children on behalf of the wife, who was a media celebrity. And she had an entire massive YouTube channel, 6 million followers. She had a whole bunch of other outlets. She was offered $50 million from the Daily Wire as a contract, and she had the privilege to turn that down. That's how powerful she was. And she actually got an even better competing offer from Rumble instead. It now has a whole bunch. We don't know what that is. It's not been disclosed, but it had to have been somewhere in that same ballpark for it to have been competitive. And she's so rich and powerful, but she's really abusive to the guy. She has been for a long time. She cucks him, all right, on a regular basis. She goes home and she demands that he do so many things. He's not allowed to even drive a car. He can't have his own car, despite the fact that she could buy him a helicopter or a tank. She has tank money, but she's not spending that on him. And instead, she's abusing him all the fucking time. And he has to do whatever she says. And she's scared. Sorry, he's scared. It's hard to keep on doing this, but he's scared. He's deeply afraid that what if he leaves? What is she going to do? She has all these fans, all these angry fans, and all this media apparatus. And if she turns on him, she could destroy him. He can't get out of this relationship. He doesn't know what to do. And he just wants to take care of the kids and start a new life away from the abuse. What does he have to do when they go into a deep legal battle of which he has no resources? He doesn't have like a day-to-day job with a salary. How can he afford to pay and battle up against her? Well, there are some protections in place. There's some things so that if someone in this situation is not utterly going to be continuously devastated, destroyed, or abused in a relationship. That's why these things are all set up. Issue one more tweet or statement endorsing an opinion that I am somehow sexually involved or want to be involved with Hillary Crowder, and we will have a lawsuit. Jared now threatening fucking the quartering with legal action. Again, it's heating up. It's accelerating. I'm here for all of it. You got to get excited. Get excited because, the worst people in the world, they're all fighting. Everyone's fighting. And fucking Steven Crowder's at the center of all of it. All right, so he returned. A short stream, I might add. Only 1 hour. You're not really putting in those hours. Steven, where's the work ethic? You gotta pick yourself up from your bootstraps. Come on. I mean, I put in like 3 or 4 hours a day in streams alone. Then I go and edit the videos, and I make mind explosions, and I go and edit my other YouTube videos, and I'm working on a documentary right now on Matt Walsh. Just working hard, working hard day and out. You're the capitalist.
I'm looking down here. You didn't get rid of your notepad, Gerald. Oops. I have your notepad from you. It looks like the scratch of a serial killer. Guess you had a full day without me yesterday.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look.
Why weren't you there, Steven? You gonna address that, I hope?
Guys, before I move on with anything, obviously my phone's been blowing up. I've never talked about my private divorce. I have no intentions of doing that. I'll continue not discuss.
You have a couple times. You also mentioned that you really hate no-fault divorce, that it's a really bad thing. Yeah.
There'll be a joint statement in the coming weeks. Anyone out there who thinks you're doing it on our side, on my side, on her side, just stop. It's a private affair. Things were settled amicably.
It's a private affair. There was a 30-minute special that was airing all the dirty laundry about this private affair, making it very, very public, and actually kind of spread an entire conspiracy theory involving your ex-wife and one of your ex-employees, your ex-co-hosts actually colluding together to try and completely destroy you and your empire, and doing so in collusion with the media. Ugh. Yeah. You don't get to go back the next day and be like, yeah, it's a private thing. Don't worry about it.
It's done. I'm not going to be talking about it. You'll see a joint statement coming up. That's just, please leave her alone. Genuinely, leave her alone. You're not helping either side. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Today.
Oh, that's it. I think that's all you're going to get. Yeah, just kind of absolve myself of any potential death threats or violence being headed towards my ex-wife at the probably, I don't know, reasons that my co-host just did an entire 30-minute special insinuating that she's part of some massive conspiracy theory to collude with my ex-co-host in order to destroy my reputation, the one in which you probably love because you like watching my show. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Gerald, not a word. So, Sage Steele, actually, it doesn't know who Dana White is. We'll be talking about that. We have an update on Nashville. New proposed law.
So I think that's it in terms of
Days 10 a.m. Eastern, including tomorrow. Your Easter plans.
Like, this is like going to another man's barbecue. Why are you fact checking me?
The only thing is, you want to support what we do. You want to, because someone said, "Have you ever seen that movie with?"
Yeah, so I think that's it. I just want to see near the end if there's anything else. We can skip over the rest of the
through actually looking at other historical accounts, through actually looking at the impact that had taken place from Jesus Christ, through actually looking at the impact from the resurrection, what they were doing in the early times of early Rome when they were trying. And if you are not amongst us, we are glad to have you here, and your support still makes everything else happen. Nashville, I'm going to have to go through the process. They are now going to. There's going to be a law that a threat to schools is going to be an outright felony. It kind of sounds. We had this when we had the election where he had
his king.
Yeah. Oh yeah, people make that a whole thing now. I mean,
I'll talk about that a little tomorrow.
What about that, Jesus, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, whatever. I mean, people just shut up. Thank you. Let's go, Mug Club. Piss off YouTube if we were there.
Ooh, quick exit. Steven has left the building. It's a fast ass stream. I would say an hour. I guess it was for 4 minutes of run up. Okay, this is cutting into when. Let's just post that. Oh yeah, he starts in around the 6-minute mark. So just under an hour, like a cool 55 minutes. Just get in, get out. No fucking about. All right. See ya.
Let's unpack Louder with Crowder, or at least let's try to. So Steven Crowder, probably the biggest pundit in the conservative space, or at least one of, I'd say he's like top 5 for sure. He's had a pretty turbulent go of it over the past couple years with regard to just internal stuff going on. I mean, you have Dave Landau left, and on Michael
Yes, that's actual Justice Warrior on the right.
Mouse's podcast, he kind of aired some.
Yes, if you see his face, get ready to hear probably the stupidest things that any human being could put together in terms of a sequence of words. Yes, that will probably occur.
Things, at least his side of it, didn't paint it as a very good work environment. You also have the DW contract fiasco that, you know, didn't really look good. Then we have the news of his divorce, very sad, of course, but also there is footage leaked, ring cam of him not being very charitable to his wife, of course. We don't know other stuff that happened, but we at least saw that footage. Doesn't paint him in a good light. Then announcements that the divorce had been very acrimonious. Latest thing now is not gay Jared Matello. He goes by Jared Monroe on Twitter, who, if you guys have been around, he used to be almost like basically the co-host, or at least Crowder's sidekick every show.
I thought they were related for a while. That's how, like,
No, it's not Blair White. It's Lauren Chen.
crucial he was.
Another
to the show.
conservative.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they basically
Another conservative
gave off the
woman
vibes
with
like we are
right-wing
like
beliefs.
brothers. Like this is like our show together. They seemed really tight. Eventually, Jared left the show. Didn't really say anything about it, which is obviously happens if it's just a job. Like you don't have to do that forever. He hasn't really been in the public very recently, but he a while ago was on, what is it? Strange World with Quarter Black Garrett, and Dave Landau announced that he would be launching his own show in the Foxhole, I believe, which is going to be focused on masculinity and just kind of like men's issues. He posted on X though. When was this that it went up? Just like yesterday? Yeah, the 26th, yesterday. This video where he talks about ongoing legal issues that he's been having with his former employer. It's pretty clear who that former employer is, you know, Louder with Crowder / Steven Crowder. And he talks about basically, okay, do you want to try
Pendulous D, thank you very much for the 199. Baby Powder Crowder.
to summarize this video? There's a lot to turn over his.
Yeah, I think if you go through it, it's something about like lost Rumble earnings or trying to interview with their contract post that. Like I haven't seen the Daily Wire portion, but I watched their the CEO's explanation of it. But essentially, he's saying he's alleging a conspiracy where Crowder's ex-wife or current wife that he's going through divorce with is at the top. That's roping in Jared, the Daily Wire, and all these other enemies of Crowder. But I thought, I could be wrong, I thought it was to sabotage the Rumble deal. not the Daily Wire deal. I thought that was passed because I think they filed this in October of 2023. But I on her
Get to
Timcast,
the meat. Come on.
Someone taken to court and deposed over things that they potentially could have said or not, because they don't know, that's why they're being deposed, behind the scenes. That's unusual. Like, I've never seen that before. Oftentimes when we have like NDAs and non-disparagement clauses, especially in media, it's for stuff you're saying publicly. The fact that they're asking to just have like all information, very, very unusual. I've seen people say, well, if he potentially broke an NDA and he's seeking to get out of the NDA, like, dude, you signed this. It's just, it's not that big a deal. Like, you shouldn't disparage anybody. There are other allegations beyond the restrictive.
For the love of God, the NDAs, the whole thing is not set up so that you can prevent you from saying shitty things about the company that you work for or shitty things about your bosses. This is just utterly bizarre. You're supposed to be able to protect your company from you potentially selling secrets that you developed under their purview to competitors. It's the entire point, a non-disclosure agreement of any of the things. Were you coding, were you contributing to the stack of some proprietary AI, and then all of a sudden you went from working for Meta to Google, and is Google going to try and get you as an old engineer to be able to sell your secrets to them? Yes, sign this NDA so you can't do that.
Throughout the course of this, it's for more money, even though they show a message that I think shines some significant doubt on that, because they show a message that says Hillary's team is like acknowledging that he's offering them more money than they would have gotten, but she replies that she wants more freedom. So it's possible, without seeing the terms of the settlement, that there's some kind of NDA or whatever the equivalent is in divorce court that they're fighting over, which would not be about more money. It would be about more
Custody, maybe.
Yeah. Or well, custody is like a different, like, I don't know. It could be about the custody, honestly, but like, it seems like Hillary is fighting for something else, even according to the messages that they showed, that supposedly confirmed that he offered more money. But he repeatedly says throughout this that it's never enough for her. So I just found that weird, because he's like, it's never enough. And then you see them and they read it. Hillary quotes it. She's like, I want more freedom. So
Right. Not money necessarily.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, and they also like talk about like issues with dogs here. It seems like it's a very, very messy divorce, and
she's
you're
Yeah,
going
we
to
went
accept
over this already. Yeah,
that
I don't think you
allegation,
two
and
are
it
gonna
is
contribute.
they're not actually enforceable. Like, if you were to take it to court, if as an employer you say you can't work anywhere at all for 2 years, you would lose that. You can't just, like, contracts where you sign away your ability to work completely, they're not legally enforceable. But it seems like Jared is trying to say that this is exactly what Crowder's contract was, but you have the legal costs, like you said. So sometimes it might just be, and I think Jared kind of alludes to this, it's just cheaper to accept it, take it on the chin, find another job, than like lose potentially tens of thousands, if not more, trying to take it to court. So Jared was in his video, he didn't say he was being sued by Crowder. He is now currently being sued by Crowder. I just don't want Steven Crowder anywhere near those kids. Jared Matello, also known as Jared Monroe, did say in documents that they have. So now Crowder is suing Jared. Do you think that there is the potential for the fact that, yeah, it's just Jared and Hillary scorned by Crowder? They are malevolently trying to, otherwise a good guy, bring him down for personal gain, which is, that's the narrative that Crowder's team is painting.
I mean, I think where they lose me on their narrative is the money issue, because if they're offering her more money than she would get in court, it has to be some.
Is D-Man banned from drama analysis? I don't know what your question is. Do you mean like how Hassan doesn't let you talk about Destiny? Is that basically it? No, you can talk about Mr. Spaghetti. Mr. Spaghetti, you are a moron. My innards writhe.
Other term. But like, to be like 100% fair, we don't know what goes on inside a marriage. It is possible, like at least theoretically possible, that the wife in the scenario is trying to just damage the husband as much as possible. We've seen that, even if it doesn't make monetary sense, like 100%. But like, when I'm looking at the evidence as presented, and they're not saying that they're just going after Crowder just to hurt Crowder, they're saying it's about the money, when it seems like she's turning down money. And also, like, in the court filings,
Rabani had a Twitter thread about him. Oh, that was a really funny Twitter thread. I think Destiny was lamenting that he missed a gangbang to participate in the debate. I wish that would have been in one of the quotes, you know, Mr. Spaghetti, you would rather fill and be filled than be here.
From what I recall, Crowder's the one who wanted sole custody, and she wanted joint custody.
I mean, that's just objectively funny to be talking about how, like, fuck, I missed a gangbang.
It's accurate.
So it doesn't line up with the story. So Jared, in the context of, and I don't know the context, I've never spoken to Jared, and I wouldn't have texted that because it just comes off so bad. But like, in the context of Crowder trying to get full custody, like, that's a little softer of a message than if Hillary was trying to get full custody and Crowder was fighting for joint.
Right. And I mean, to that quote, like you said, it sounds really bad. I don't know. Does Jared know? Like, if someone is actually violent, I could see you saying, "Oh, I don't want that person around kids." That sounds terrifying. But we don't have any proof of that. I will say. But that's exactly why I think a lot of people now are like, "All right, well, if neither party has anything to hide, and Jared wants the NDA released."
Okay, so they are like contributing absolutely nothing to this conversation. I was hoping one of them would have been like, well, I've worked with both of them and we both know them very well and we're not here to take a side, but if we had to, I suppose, but it's more just like everyone's kind of, it seems like you're on the outskirts of this drama cycle. I might have to turn to Alex Jones.
I proved it with...
It's new, therefore anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I proved it with Google Trends that this is an op. Well, I don't know what to use for a wife. Someone's got the hand.
You could have at least gone for the one that had tits on it.
All right, fine. All right, there we go.
Pekka is...
Welcome to my very professional show.
Callum show and tell, everyone.
They were fighting because the wife didn't like the marriage and there were problems and whatever. point being
Great demonstration.
They broke up. There's big drama between them. You may remember some footage coming out in which she was arguing or showing this footage to show that Crowder was saying she's not performing her wifely duties by getting food for the dog when she was heavily pregnant. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. I don't care about the minor.
Wifely obligations to the dog.
But this is all such like personal stuff between the person involved, the person who's doing something or not doing something, and their family.
We've had to watch so many different right-wingers always like, is that, do you guys all have like a bell that goes off or a light where it's like, oh, you now have to acknowledge how you don't actually care about this and you don't want to be talking about it? Because it's always like, I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't want to cover this. Honestly, I don't normally do drama. Yeah, so I know this is kind of a little different than what I normally do because we don't normally cover these kind of drama things. You know, I'm probably putting out, I'd say 20 or 30 videos on Dylan Mulvaney in the past week or so. And then, yeah, talking about how Marvel's gone woke and shit like that. And then probably talk about a whole bunch of different celebrities in Hollywood and how they're all being controlled by some cabal of evil lizard people. So that is different. That's reporting on the news. But now this, I didn't want to talk about this, you know? It just seems like a personal story.
Family and the conditions at work and whatnot. I just kind of find it weird that all of this has to be so public and a bitch fight. So
Nick Fuentes joined a call with Jeremy Boring. I posted it in Google Clips. Did they talk about any of this? Did they talk about Crowder or stuff?
This may end up destroying these two institutions.
It's all about clicks and views.
You'd think, but if this was just about clicks, that's sort of, I don't know, what would I say? The Crowder fight.
I mean, everyone loves a gossip, even if they say not. I mean,
I know you're excited
it's true
to finally be popular with women, but don't get too high on your own drama.
High on my own drama?
High on my own drama?
I don't have anything new to contribute. I just figured you're all doing the drama. Everyone does. What is one person's civil rights, another person's drama? How do you define this? At one point, it's like, hey, this is not about the right wing fighting itself. This is just about someone's personal divorce. And then it's like, well, it's not just about personal divorce, is it? It's also about the right to divorce. And should women have the right to no fault divorce their husbands? Can they actually get divorced for no reason at all? It almost sounds like, even if these men are the breadwinners, the caretakers, the earners, the providers, they actually provide them with their very livelihood. You would not exist on this earth. They are God, king, emperors, these men. Should they have to suffer at the hands of these greedy harlots who are using their bodies to control and manipulate them and then take everything from them? $25,000? That's almost $300,000 a year. My God.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We first want to give a shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. This program is produced thanks to the generous support of our Patreon supporters: Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbar Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Bomey, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demmel, Travis McClinton, and Words Greenwood. As well as every other person you see on the screen right now, this show would not be possible without them. And if you want to join these wonderful people who make this entire program possible, simply go to patreon.com/theserfs and you can unlock uncensored and bonus episodes and, you know, help us exist.